The rain was relentless that night, hammering against the tin roof of the old county mortuary. I clocked in just after 11, the dim fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. This place had been standing since the early 1900s, its walls whispering with the weight of forgotten stories. I had no idea one of them was about to come alive. The security lights outside flickered, casting long shadows through the frosted windows. Inside, the sterile scent of disinfectant mixed with the faint odor of decay that never truly left. I was trained to ignore it, but that night the air felt heavier, almost charged. Even the hum of the cooler felt off, as if vibrating on a different frequency. The mortuary sat on the edge of a cornfield, miles from the nearest town. On clear nights, the stars usually painted the sky like silver dust, but tonight, clouds strangled the moon. I poured my usual coffee, pale and lukewarm, staring at the corridor that led to the refrigeration room. Something deep within me whispered not to go down there yet. At midnight, the delivery van rolled in, tires crunching the wet gravel. No headlights, no identifiable markings. The driver never left the cab, just waved a gloved hand toward the loading door before disappearing into the storm. The body inside was unclaimed, male, middle-aged, found by the roadside. The tag listed only one word under cause of death, unknown. Gurney wheels squealed as I pushed it into the prep area. The man's face was pale, almost translucent, light reflecting strangely off his skin like wax. There was a faint scar running down his neck, but no trauma I could identify. His expression was eerily peaceful, almost like he knew a secret no living person could hold. I logged the intake and sealed the chamber door behind him, temperature set at 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I noticed the cameras, each one flickered to static whenever I passed. I tapped the monitor, expecting it to return to normal, but the feed remained black. The timestamp had frozen exactly at 12:13, and it wouldn't move. The phone rang from the front office, the sound splitting the silence like a blade. Static hissed on the other end, no voice, just faint breathing. When I hung up, I saw condensation forming on the preparation table, small beads sliding across the metal surface. The temperature gauge hadn't changed, but the room felt at least 10 degrees colder. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped into the corridor. The beam sliced through the dust drifting in the air, each particle seeming frozen in place. The overhead bulbs buzzed once, then went silent, plunging everything into a heavy shadow. I kept walking until the beam landed on something that made my stomach tighten, a trail of wet, bare footprints. They led from the refrigeration room toward the autopsy theater. My first thought was a leak from the ceiling, water pooling across the floor. But these were shaped, 5 toes, heel, arch, each one unmistakably human. Yet the toe marks faced the wrong direction, as if whoever left them had been walking backward. I followed the prints slowly, heart pounding against my ribs like a drum. The air grew thicker with every step, like wading through unseen water. When I reached the autopsy room door, it was slightly ajar, swinging gently on its hinges. Inside, the cold chamber light flickered, and I caught movement by the far table. The gurney that had been empty now bore the unclaimed man. Only, his eyes were open, staring straight at me. I stumbled back, nearly dropping the flashlight. But as the beam passed over his face again, his eyelids were closed. I told myself it was a trick of light, but deep down I knew something was rewriting reality. I checked his vitals instinctively, feeling his wrist for any pulse. Of course, there was none, skin cold, muscles stiff. But when I looked down again, I realized the toe tag with his name had vanished. In its place, a strip of paper with neat, mechanical handwriting spelled out my own last name. The security system emitted a low, continuous alarm, one I'd never heard before. I ran to the control panel but every button was dead. The monitors cycled through static images of different rooms, all frozen in time. One shot, however, wasn't static, it showed me, standing in the hallway, staring at myself from an impossible angle. I turned instinctively, expecting someone behind me, but the corridor was empty. My reflection on the monitor moved independently, slowly raising its head. Then the power surged, the entire mortuary shaking like something underneath was coming alive. Every light switched back on, flooding the halls in an unnatural white glow. At exactly 1 a.m., the wall clock spun backward, its second hand twitching violently. The air vents blasted out a chemical cold draft carrying whispers that overlapped, too many voices to count. One voice rose above them all, it was my own, muttering the intake number of the unclaimed body repeatedly. I tore down the corridor toward the loading bay, desperate for fresh air. But the door refused to open, the keypad unresponsive. As I pounded on the metal panels, someone knocked back from the other side, rhythmic, slow, deliberate. I froze, realizing whoever was there was matching my movements perfectly. I looked out the small window in the bay door. The rain had stopped completely. No wind, no sound. The entire landscape outside looked frozen, raindrops hung midair, the van still parked, headlights now burning backward through time. The only thing moving was my own reflection shivering across the glass. Back inside, I found every cabinet drawer pulled open, autopsy tools scattered like confetti on the tile floor. The gurney stood upright against the wall, restraints dangling like broken vines. My name appeared again, etched into the stainless steel tray with surgical precision. I staggered back, realizing the letters were engraved from the inside out. The smell of ozone filled the air, metallic and sharp. Fluorescent bulbs pulsed in sync, like the whole building was breathing. I pressed my palm against the counter, feeling faint vibrations beneath my skin, rhythmic, irregular. Somewhere deep beneath the foundations, something was ticking like a clock made of bone. The intercom crackled to life, though I hadn't touched it all night. Static built, then words formed between distortions. It was my supervisor's voice, calm but wrong, slowed down as if stretched across time. "Leave it where you found it," the voice repeated, followed by a sharp digital click. The hallway leading to the freezer stretched impossibly long, farther than physically possible. Each step echoed with delay, the light overhead stretching into an infinite tunnel. I realized the mortuary no longer followed physical laws, it was folding in on itself, dimensions bleeding together like film melted in the projector. At the end of that corridor, the refrigeration door stood open, white mist spilling out like smoke. I reached inside and found the drawer that should have held the unclaimed man empty. Instead, a mirror gleamed at the back, reflecting a version of me wearing the same uniform, only his hands were covered in blood. I backed away slowly, my breath shaking, camera feeds around me distorting further. The reflection smiled, and I felt a burning pain behind my eyes, like freezing liquid sliding through my veins. The world flickered, walls stretching, colors dulling. I blinked, and suddenly I was standing in the mirror's place. The mortuary outside the glass looked darker, unfamiliar. Everything was reversed, the clocks ran backward, labels written in mirrored script. Beyond the reflection of the window, my own world shimmered faintly, empty now, the unclaimed slab still standing where I had been moments ago. I pressed my hand to the mirror, and a ripple spread across its surface like liquid mercury. A shadow figure stood behind me, nothing but static where its face should be. When it leaned closer, I heard the faint hum of the refrigeration unit blending perfectly with my own heartbeat. Suddenly, everything blinked to black, the smell, the cold, the sound, gone. Then a fluorescent flicker brought the room back, but it was day. My coworker stood by the prep table, looking at me curiously. He said I'd been clocked in for 5 minutes. It was the following evening. I tried to tell him what happened, the glitch in time, the mirror. But his expression didn't change, blank as stone. Then I noticed the faint reflection in his eyes, they showed me, not as I was, but as the bloodied version I'd seen through the mirror. He blinked once, and the vision was gone. The unclaimed body never appeared in the records again. No paperwork, no delivery log, nothing but an empty time slot on the schedule. The footage from that night was corrupt, all except for one frame, me walking into the freezer and never coming back out. For days, I've been haunted by the feeling the mortuary door might open on its own again. Every time I pass a reflective surface, there's that faint flicker of another me watching. It's patient, waiting for the next storm to break the boundary again. Some nights, when the wind sweeps across the field, I hear knocking from deep underground, muted, yet deliberate. The others say it's just pipes shifting in the cold. But I know the rhythm by heart now, the exact same pattern I tapped on the loading bay door that night. I tried quitting, even moved 3 counties away, but every town I pass still has that same mortuary smell somewhere lingering. I've stopped looking at mirrors completely, though sometimes reflections appear in things that shouldn't have them, coffee, glass, even asphalt puddles after rain. Experts claim my story is an illusion of sleep deprivation, a mind reconstructing missing time. But no medical scan, no psychological profile, explains how my name ended up etched into that metal tray. Or why, every midnight, my wristwatch reverses for exactly 13 seconds. If you ever find yourself working alone in a rural mortuary, and the cameras flicker, the temperature drops, and the silence thickens, don't look in the mirrors. Because the moment you do, something else looks back, curious to see which one of you belongs here. Some say time can fold like linen, that every glitch opens a tear into what could have been. Maybe I didn't survive that shift, maybe I crossed over. But if this story reaches you, then somewhere, on the other side of the reflection, I'm still waiting for someone to notice. And as I whisper these words into the void, the mortuary clock ticks backward once more. The air grows still, the light bends, and behind me, the drawer slides open with an all-too-familiar creak. Inside, resting peacefully, lies a man who looks exactly like me.